Lost Art with Andrew Cox, retired Master Gunnery Sergeant. thelostart.podbean.com. Get some merchandise and help support the podcast in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Now on all major podcast platforms. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be a guest, tell your veteran story, discuss your veteran business or organization. Email The Lost Art with Andrew Cox at gmail.com. Andrew Cox, a Teal Valhalla Project Ambassador. See the project story at tealvalhallaproject.com. Thanks for tuning in. Please enjoy the podcast that's giving a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox.
Today's episode is brought to you by TrumpShirt.com. TrumpShirt.com is a veteran-owned business where 100% of the proceeds goes to disabled veterans and veteran organizations. Support your veterans by purchasing a shirt at TrumpShirt.com. Use the promo code TLA and get free shipping. That's TrumpShirt.com, promo code TLA.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we'll be having a fireside chat with the crew. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Then be sure to go to the Lost Art website. That's the lostart.podbean.com. Go check it out, see what we got going on. Also, there's a merchandise tab. Click on that merchandise tab. Go get you a cool hat, get you a shirt, get you a mug, get you something cool. But help support us in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Also, I want to give a shout out to the Teal Valhalla Project and allowing me to be an ambassador for their incredible organization. Please go to their website. That's tealvalhallaproject.com. Go see what they're all about. And if you can help support them, please do so. With that, I got the crew, and we're going to go round robin. We're going to start with Mark. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing outstanding. Glad to be here today. It's beautiful weather, a little warm, but our gas prices did drop down to like $4.53 a gallon.
Woo! Dang, you are uptown now. $4.53.
I'll be able to fill up the tank.
No,
Yeah,
that's amazing. Wow.
So,
What? I don't know what you got. I don't know what you're doing over there, but
politics.
whatever you're doing, keep it going.
Yeah, it's we got to fight. We got Steve Garvey. He used to be the baseball player for the Dodgers and the Padres. He's running for Senate against who is that? Adam Schiff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess they're supposed to be. The polls say that they're pretty close, and the polls are going to be skewed for Adam Schiff. So hopefully that Steve Garvey's in the lead.
Yeah.
We'll find out though.
When do you find out those results?
In November. In November, same day as the big one.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed, and my legs, and any other things that can be crossed. Hope for the best for
prayers. We need prayers.
Yeah. Lots of prayers for California.
Yeah, I mean, California is such a phenomenal state. It could be, one of the richest countries in the world. If it wasn't for the way the politicians run into the ground and steal all the money from it.
Yeah. Good point. I don't know. Maybe you'll turn it around, Mark. I don't know. It could be you, all you. You could be the one that California is waiting on. I'm just throw that out there. One or two people.
Oh, a couple.
Yeah. All right, Aaron, how are you doing?
Doing good. That's about all I can ask for right now. I don't want to put too much out there because I don't want to jinx myself, but you already know. Hopefully a future job opportunity coming up.
Yeah.
But other than and working with Marines again, so I'm excited for that. Much rather be working with Marines than anybody else.
It's a good point. Yeah.
I think
very true.
Plus years did that to me.
Yeah, it kind of warped your thinking, didn't it?
It did a little bit.
That's all right, though. That's all right. No big deal. All right, Krista, how you doing?
I'm good. I don't know if that's good or bad. If it made you think hard,
Mm.
had to keep you on your toes or
Yeah. That's
yeah.
a good point. That's a good
It's
point.
funny
I don't
because
know.
Ron said that the other night. He goes, "Yeah." I said, "How was it today?" He goes, "Yeah, I was flat-footed." I said, "Versus keeping you on your toes." That was funny. I'd never
Very
heard that,
nice.
flat-footed. I was like, "Okay, you're flat-footed today." So,
Yeah.
no, we're well here. It's everything was good. It was a good week, and we're finally got to mow our grass after the tropical storm drama. So
Mm.
everyone was mowing today. The entire street was mowing. I'm like, we gotta mow because everyone else is mowing. Peer pressure.
Yeah. And there's nothing like the smell of the fresh cut grass, in the summertime as it wafts through your nose and you go, yep, that's summer right there.
I guess it was like, hey, what's that on you? Oh, it's grass. Oh, so it was good. So I got a little bit done today.
Some people, when you say what's that on you and they say grass, you gotta question what they're saying. Speaking of which, Vic, how you doing?
So I got to tell you, when you go through 16 states in the summer on a motorcycle, you
Yeah,
smell a lot of fresh cut grass,
I bet you do.
and I'm telling you, it's one of the reasons I ride a motorcycle because you don't smell that stuff in a car.
Yeah,
Fresh
that's a
cut
good point.
hay, fresh cut grass, the rain before it comes, you can smell it on a motorcycle. I love it. So as far as in the Nay family, started teaching yesterday. First day with all the students back was yesterday, and I think I mentioned that I'm woefully unprepared. So I'm trying after the podcast tonight. It's going to be a lot of homework and trying to come up with lesson plans for my classes tomorrow. This
You'll be all right.
Yeah, it'll be all right. I mean, it's banned. I mean, really, seriously, how hard can it be, right? This week's cigar is a Viaje Furiosa Fury. It's a typical Robusto 5x. This is a 5x52 actually. Robusto is usually 5x50, but this is a 5x52. It is Dominican Republic. The binder, wrapper, and filler are all unspecified, so I'm not sure what these are. Some cigar. I think I've introduced a few cigars that keep all that stuff secret. But it is labeled as a medium body cigar. But the description has savory, robust, earthy notes and hints of spice and sweetness. So we'll see.
Huh. I've got to be honest. It's one of my highlights when we do the podcast is to listen to your descriptions of these cigars. Because I don't get any of that. And I don't understand it. I smoke a cigar, but I don't like that earthy, robust, whatever other words you use in these descriptors. I don't get. I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I do. I enjoy a good cigar, even a bad one. I enjoy it. But
so I would say when I first started enjoying cigars, I went through several years of exactly that. I mean, not being able to put a thumb on anything. I like this one, or I don't like that one. Right. I don't like it because and I had very general terms like it tastes metallic, or it's too spicy, that kind of stuff,
right.
But when I started working with a guy that really, really knows his stuff, and I say, okay, what's that fresh pencil, sharpening smell that I'm getting? And he's like, that's the cedar. You're tasting cedar. It's like, okay, so now I can start to. Now when I smoke a cigar, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cedar. Okay, that's an earthy flavor. Oh, that's a whatever kind of stuff. So I'm able to start putting names to what I'm experiencing. But I go to Carl still almost on a weekly basis and like, all right, what am I tasting this? Because this is what I taste. He's like, oh, that's the Dominican or Nicaraguan longleaf that you're tasting, and that's this, that, and this, and that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. So just the more you do it, but you have to have somebody experienced, and I'm not it, or I'm maybe just a little bit further down the road than you. But you have to have
you're way further down the road than me, man. Let's be honest.
That just takes being around somebody that really knows their stuff to be able to help you put this is why you're tasting that, or this is what that flavor is.
I think what we need to do is we need to have who'd you say it was? Carl?
Yeah, Carl Hess is his name.
Carl Hess. We need to have Carl Hess on the program and just kind of talk to us a little bit about cigars and maybe we all buy the same cigar, and then he tells us what it is that we're enjoying at that point in time, and then it would all make sense.
Do I get to tell him my phrase about cigars?
Absolutely, yes. I think we can make that happen.
I think we can make that happen. I think we can make that happen. I'll start working.
You're gonna have to let us know what cigar in advance, because you know me, I'm gonna get the cheapest one, but I will buy whichever one you tell me to buy that go round.
More than likely, I could probably talk Carl into donating a few cigars, and I'll ship them to you guys. And that way, we're literally getting the same cigar out of the same batch, out of the same box.
Oh, dang! Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like the closest thing that we can get to the exact same cigar.
Okay, that's a deal. Shake on it. All right, cool. We're good. All right, well, let's jump ahead. Let's go ahead and go into veteran news with Mark.
Let me see. Let me get to my notes here.
I shotgunned you. I'm sorry.
Let's see. No worries. No worries. Okay. Let me get to my notes. Notes.
He's got them somewhere. Don't worry, he's working it.
One thing we all know about active duty and especially veterans and some of the stress that they come under, especially in the last 3 years, is with financial management and debt that gets racked up. So we all know that in the active duty military, especially the higher you get, your debt ratio that you have can affect your security clearance.
Yeah.
And then also just runaway finances can cause all kinds of stress at home, in your family life, but also then you take it to work. People take it to work, and then it affects their military performance and everything. And then with veterans out there, they especially dealing with the PTSD and other type of issues, it's just another anxiety that compounds on your emotional burden that you have. And so the financial debt and financial stress is just it's a killer. But there are options out there. There is help out there for both active duty and military. But the most important thing, just like any other issue, is to get it out in the open, communicate about it, get to someone who knows what they're talking about, get a trusted friend involved, get a trusted mentor through your command, but get the finances under control. So if there's for active duty, there's plenty of different things that can be done to assist. But there's also some shady organizations out there that will tell you they can help you fix it and everything like that. So whatever type of organization you go to, you always have to check it out with the Better Business Bureau. If it doesn't have a .org behind it, it's probably shady. So you always want to go to something that has a .org instead of a .com, a commercial. .com means it's commercial. But a .org, especially some type of a not-for-profit organization, is usually your best bet. So both for active duty and veterans, the Veterans of Foreign Wars has grants that are available. The American Legion also. If you go online and Google or type in the search bar about veterans and active duty debt relief, there's plenty of organizations out there. Always find the one that's going to say .org, or go straight to the VA and put in their debt relief or debt management. So there's there's a whole bunch of good organizations out there. Once again, like I said, the VA, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, USA Cares, Operation Family Fund. There's the Wounded Warrior Project. There's the Injured Marines Semper Fi Fund. And those are both for post 9/11 veterans and active duty military. Plus the Injured Marine Semper Fi Fund / America's Fund has a Welcome Home from Vietnam Fund for Vietnam veterans.
Oh, wow.
So there's the organizations like that. But they can help you. These other organizations, they can help with grants. There's the different organizations, not all of them, not even can help with personal loans, debt settlements, debt consolidation. Then there's different protections for, especially for active duty military. You know, the Servicemen's Civil Relief Act prevents a veteran from being evicted from their dwelling. They can stop foreclosures on vehicles. They can stop civil proceedings for storage facilities, things like that. They can help you end a lease on a vehicle if you're going to get transferred overseas. They can stop can end your contract for phones if you're getting transferred overseas, things like that. But there are options out there. There's there's options so that people don't think that there's no way out of debt relief. There is help out there, but once again, have to identify the problem, identify how much income you got, how much outgo you got, and if anything isn't needed. Do you need that super TV plan so that you get every TV station, every movie, things like that. Some of the a big scam out there is the timeshare. They get you in, they give you a free weekend, they get you to a timeshare presentation, and they are great salesmen, and they will get you hooked. They'll make it sound so great, but it's things that you don't need to spend your money on. So there's options out there, and we have to get our veterans in active duty. They're feeling the stress. Let's get them out there to a reputable organization and get these debts under control.
Yeah, that's a good point. One of the things that I kind of wonder about is there's always an embarrassment factor when you're talking about debt. Whether you are a new service member, whether you have been in for 30 years, or whether you're a veteran, right? There's always that stigma of you haven't got your shit together.
Definitely.
And and that's a hard thing to overcome and ask for help and those types of things. What would you say to individuals that are kind of in that boat?
I personally would tell them, hey, I've been there. I've been careless and reckless in my spending when everything seems good, and you got that credit card. Oh, it's got a big balance on it. Yeah, I'd like to take that trip, or I would like to have that new toy, or that new something shiny, a new gun, a new car.
Right.
I can handle those payments. You get reckless, you get careless, and then all of a sudden, an emergency comes along, or you got two cars, one of them goes kaput, and you got to fix it because your spouse needs to get to work. You got to fix your car because you got to get to work. Yeah, it is embarrassing. So it's important to, and then people let it go and let it go and let it go. And I remember I had a first sergeant, I had a Marine was late, and he ran out of gas. He was late. We found out that he was late because he ran out of gas. And I'm the platoon sergeant. I go to the first sergeant. I tell him, hey, this guy's accounted for, but he's still on his way in. He's coming in, and he goes, okay, I want to see that Marine. I want to see a squad leader. I want to see you. And I'm like, oh, hey, sergeant, I've got this. I'm a staff sergeant. I can handle this. He goes, no, I want to see him. And so we got the Marine in front of him, squad leader, myself. And the first sergeant asked him a few questions. We got him on, got some answers, got him on a plan, everything like that. And then we dismissed the Marine. And the first sergeant, he told me, he says, one thing you need to know, when one of your people, when they run out of gas, usually their whole world is running out of gas, and they need some assistance. They won't ask for it, but they need it. That's saying you need assistance without saying you need assistance. And I always took that to heart. And I even did it when I was the first sergeant. I did it to a platoon sergeant, and he had the same reaction that I had. And I explained that, if their gas is running out or their car's running out of gas, their emotional life is probably running on empty also.
Oh yeah.
So it's one of the things about leadership and friendship, everything like that to like I said, overcome that embarrassment, but figure out a way to overcome that embarrassment. Like I said, I've been there. I mean, I was a young sergeant, 3 kids trying to live off the Southern California economy. I was working construction jobs on the weekend, some security guard jobs at night, getting a little sleep, and still trying to perform at a top level, for the Marine Corps. So I've been there. I know how it is. I'm willing to help anybody that I think needs it or asks me for assistance.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a matter,
so involved with the nice guys. It's organization, because we do things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things where, we as military members, especially us being Marines, we have to be able to look beyond the situation we're in currently. And that is difficult to do, especially when you're looking at your peers or you're looking to your seniors and you're like, they're going to know everything. If I lay it out how it really is, man, they're going to slap me across the face or something. And the reality is that's not really the case. You want what's best for the Marine, and you want to help them through whatever it may be, or service member, whatever the case may be. But yes, it's going to be some embarrassing times. I've been there too, just like you have. And I'm not perfect with my money even today. So there are things that I do, that I'm like, yep, probably shouldn't have done that. And, I feel the consequences of it later. But we all have to realize, especially when, younger folks as are coming up and stuff like that, hey, you're going to make boneheaded decisions and you're going to screw up. It's how do you overcome that, and how do you ask for help, and how do you get better in the long run?
Right.
Andrew, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Add something too. So, Mark brought up a good point, and like you said, we've all probably been there at some point during our careers. But the one thing I would add, especially for those that have to get security clearances, can affect your security clearance if you do not tell nobody. If you try to hide it and think you're going to be slick and get through it, and eventually I'll get over it. Well, something led up to those problems to start with. You may never get over it, but if you keep your leadership informed and you get the help you need, especially if you're in one of those job fields that requires a security clearance, you can maintain your security clearance as long as you report it and you're showing efforts to take care of it, and so on and so forth.
Right. And I think that's the most important part, is you're showing efforts to try to take care of it, and you're open and honest about where you're at.
Right.
And I think that's where everyone shies away. It's because, like, oh, if I let somebody know, then I'm not as good as everybody else, or, I don't know. There's 1,000 different things that go through people's heads as that happens. It's just a matter of getting past yourself and your own pride to say, hey, I need some help.
Hey, not all of us are going to be that outstanding. You can be an outstanding Marine and still have issues, is what I'm trying to get at.
Oh yeah.
You don't need to record Tampon Tim and tell everybody that you went to combat and carried a weapon in combat when you didn't. But I just had to throw that joke in there. But all right.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I accept.
So I'll say I got a comment on all this. First of all, relationship with money is across all demographics and all income levels. Poor and good or poor relationships, doesn't matter. There are people that look like they are very rich that manage their money very, very poorly.
Right.
But I will say that there's also a stigma around financial advisors. People think that you have to be rich in order to go to a financial advisor, and that is not it. That is not the case. Financial advisors is somebody that you can sit down face to face and talk about debt management, talk about debt consolidation. Oftentimes you're paying, you got 3 or 4 credit cards that are maxed out, and you're paying 17, 20, sometimes 30% on these maxed out credit cards. Financial advisors have plans. They can get you a consolidated loan, and that's maybe 12% or 10%, something like that, so you can start paying off this debt quickly. And other things. There are lots of they can make the phone calls to some of these organizations and lower payments and do all kinds of things, because in the end, credit cards and loan companies want their money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you say that I'll pay it back, but not 17% interest, I'll pay you back at 5% interest, that's still a profit for them. So they're still going to take that deal, but it usually takes the financial advisors calling them and saying, hey, I represent this person. You're going to lower their interest rate. You're going to lower their payment, all this kind of stuff. So financial advisors are great. And it's not just for people that are rich. If you're struggling, go see a financial advisor.
Yeah, there are financial advisors as well that are work specifically with the military, though. Through Navy Relief or different places like that. Now, granted, yes, embarrassing, because you're going to have to go in and you're going to have to let somebody know what's going on. Whereas if you go and pay for a financial advisor or something like that, maybe not as embarrassing. Although it's still embarrassing, it's just not part of your command necessarily. But yeah, and all of those options are good, as long as you're going to seek help and get set up and moving in the right direction.
Most bases have, so when I was doing the financial advisor thing, when I was transitioning out of the Marine Corps, I was looking up, okay, where am I going to work? Most bases have financial advisors on staff.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to Family Readiness, or they're in different places on different bases, but you can go to Family Readiness or wherever, and then ask to see if we have a financial. Most bases have financial advisors or financial planners that can help young Marines or young service members or even old ones.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing.
You're talking about old people. That was not nice, man.
I'm older than you. I mean,
I wasn't talking
just
about
for
me.
The record, And just for the record, years ago, when Ron and I were first married, and we had a credit card, and I won't tell you how much debt we had when we went to Hawaii many years ago. We called Navy Federal to talk to them about. We had called a financial counseling company. And we called Navy Federal, and they would not work with that company. You know why? Because they had their own. They had budgetary counseling program at Navy Federal Credit Union, and they asked us to work with them. So we ended up working with Navy Federal, got rid of all of our debt, and that's when we first were, and they worked through us and got everything and put it at 0% interest for a certain amount of time and everything. So yeah, Navy Federal has their own budgetary counseling program. So if you ever, for all you out there who are watching, Navy Federal Credit Union, if you bank with them, and a lot of military do, so especially Marines and sailors, yes, Navy Federal Credit Union has their own budgetary, it's called the budgetary counseling program. Yes, they do.
I imagine like USAA also has the same type of thing.
I'm sure
I don't know that for sure. Yeah.
They do.
Yep. But Navy Federal had just told us no, because they had their own and they wanted us to work with them because we banked through them. And of course, the credit card we had was with them. Correct. Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was very interesting. Learned a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
I still remember her name today. Our counselor's name was Rosa. I'll never forget her. And that was when our daughter told her second grade teacher, we don't have money for food. And what it was, if you live on Kaneohe, what it was, we lived on Kaneohe Bay and we drove down. And as you left the housing, we lived up in Diaz Place, and you drove down and you drove by the McDonald's every day on the way to the elementary school, right? And everyone was in there eating at McDonald's, and Laura would be like, McDonald's. I said, well, we don't have money to eat at McDonald's every day, is what I would tell her. And of course, then Mrs. Kanashiro asked us, you guys okay? And I'm like, we're fine. We're totally fine. I'm just not going to eat breakfast at McDonald's every day. So,
hey, kids have got their own special way of looking at things, you know?
Yeah, but Mrs. Kanashiro asked us, are you guys all right? I'm like, we're totally fine. We're eating chicken and rice every day, but we're in Hawaii.
Hey, I like chicken and rice. I don't know. I also like, in case you're wondering, and I'll throw this out there, I like Spam. You take some Spam, you slice it up, you throw it on, throw it and grill it up. Man, it's good. Man, my daughters like it. Well, one of them, the other not so much, but one of them likes it. She's like me. We like poor man food. It's all good.
We just had chicken and rice tonight. I'm not kidding.
It's delicious. Are you kidding?
Yeah, when my kids were young and I cooked, it was ramen noodles and MREs.
Yeah.
MRE beef stew and ramen noodles. And they, to this day, my one daughter loves ramen noodles.
But my kids love ramen noodles. I like ramen noodles. What am I saying? I like them too.
Oh, I love ramen noodles.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. And it's cheap. Oh my God, is it cheap? Man, but it's delicious.
Hey, did you know Hormel produced their first batch of Spam in 1937?
I did not know that. Did you just look that up?
Again, producing their...
Just don't read us the ingredients.
Yeah, I don't want to know. I don't want to know the ingredients. Please, for the love of God. Just let me know that it tastes good as it goes down.
You didn't even hear the joke, did you?
Oh, no. I was too worried about what the ingredients were.
They will be producing a second batch.
No, that's messed up. Hey, but it's still good. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. All right, Mark, you got anything else?
I think that's good. Just to anybody out there listening, get the assistance. You'll find that organization and get the assistance and get rid of that stress level.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and go to military news with Vic.
Let's see, military news. Let's see, a couple episodes. I did a little bit on blast overexposure or blast overpressure exposure, right? You guys remember that? Well, the DoD released their policy, has released a policy on blast overpressure exposure. And some of the key elements of this policy is include requirements for the DoD to implement procedures and standards for training and operations that incorporate blast overpressure risk or BOP management, including weapon-specific standoff distances, enhancing training, education, civilian and military leaders for service members to include procedures to seek medical evaluation when experiencing symptoms. But it does not go on to list what those symptoms are, so I might look those up for next one. Identify and track all DoD personnel who are at the highest risk for exposure to BOP using DoD's defensive, occupational, and environmental, all that stuff. Integrate simulations into training strategies to reduce BOP exposure when appropriate and not to expend excess rounds once training standards are met.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Back to that. Yeah, we'll go back to that. Consider BOP hazards within the acquisition life cycle of weapon systems and establish procedures to track and maintain oversight of BOP exposure risk management actions, including processes to request justification writing for any exceptions to the policy. But they also said in here that it does not supersede mission accomplishment. But yeah. So the whole extra round things. all of us have been in the field when they say, well, we got these thousands of rounds that we got to get rid of. Just start firing them, which nobody wants to do because it just means you're out in the field that much longer and your weapons are dirtier.
I don't know if nobody wants to do them because there's always one or two that's like, oh, yeah, buddy, I'll fire them off.
I'm sure, yeah. Yeah, but once you make it to sergeant, nobody wants to do
it. That's good.
Did they mention? Did they mention there were additional RSO and OIC trainings required?
Ooh.
Well, it just says training for civilian and military leaders and service members. So I bet you that's where that would fall in there. Yeah, because again, the standard was set at 4 pounds per square inch, which is almost everything. So I'd be interested to see where some of the continues to flesh out where this is going.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You said that was like M16, right?
Yeah, small arms fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's see what else we got. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Hundreds of San Diego Marines accused of defrauding the federal government. So some Marines, most
job, Mark.
Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. Yeah. Most of them at Miramar found a way, basically that they these two civilian doctors basically were poaching people for this scam, and it wound up being a couple hundred people. But they were basically writing bogus prescriptions to these people. Most of them were like skin creams and stuff like that. Nothing serious, but charging the government $10,000 for prescription. And then what they were doing was giving the people that the people that they were that were their patients, they were giving them a $300 kickback a month. Yeah. Yeah. So shame on you.
I'm just gonna say this, and Vic, you can understand this because you were at the wing like 20 times. All I gotta do is swinging with the wing. Okay.
Shut up. And then I just somehow we let this go by. National Purple Heart Day was August 7th, because the first Purple Heart was awarded on August 7th of 1782. George Washington came up with the badge of military merit, which turned into the Purple Heart.
Right.
It's the oldest, longest surviving military decoration. 1782 was when the first one was awarded.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And I yield the remainder of my time.
You know, I want to let you guys know there is a podcast that I need you guys to watch, and I'll send you the link whenever I get it all fixed and everything. But a gentleman that I recorded today, I mean, one heck of an American patriot. Name of Harold, but he was a Vietnam veteran, made it all the way to colonel. His son joined the army as well, deployed to Afghanistan and paid the ultimate sacrifice. But his story that he tells is amazing, and just one intelligent and patriotic individual still out there fighting for the veteran community, fighting for the military community, joined the VFW specifically because he wants to better everything that's going on. He's gone out and done amazing things with helping individuals who were in the San Antonio area in the hospital and stuff like that. Anyways, he almost had me in tears as he was telling his story today. But I just want to throw that out there. I'll let you guys know what it is. Obviously, for everybody out there, I'm going to post it. But anyways, great, incredible story, an incredible human being, but doing some incredible things for our veterans and the military active duty as well. But just throwing that out there. All right, let's see. What do we got next? Current news with Aaron.
All right, so keeping on kind of the military current news and staying out of politics. Well, Not really, because it's an overbleed, but as we all know by now, or we should, Ukraine conducted a surprise attack into Russian territory last week, gaining ground in the area of Kursk, which is the Russian western border with Ukraine. That said, updated as of today. What's his name? The National Security Council spokesperson, John Kirby, said it is apparent to us that Mr. Putin and the Russian military are diverting some resources, some units towards the Kursk Oblast to, I can't read that word, but anyway, to counter what the Ukrainians are doing. Now, they estimated several thousand, but it looks like the majority in some of the more well-trained Russian troops are staying with the fighting in Ukraine. Doesn't appear that they are repositioning. There is some chatter about how bad it was. Let me read a couple of quotes from, let's see, get this guy's name right here. If I can find it. I can't find it. Okay, so Ukrainian Foreign Ministry spokesman, I'll just go with his last name, Takiv, said they were not interested in taking over Russian territory. The sooner Russia agrees to restore a just peace, the sooner the raids by the Ukrainian Defense Forces into Russia. There was another quote here, and I can't find it. Oh, a local official with the Russians' Liberal Opposition Party said citizens that are leaving their homes are in very difficult psychological situation. He told, and this is from BBC, Radio 4's The World Tonight, added they were experiencing a lot of stress and sadness. And I guess about 180 civilians needed to be evacuated. And so far, 121,000 had left as of Wednesday out of that area.
Wow.
Apparently, it was a pretty good surprise attack into Russia. It actually surprised U.S. officials as well, because apparently they didn't know about it. Finland, Estonia said they supported Ukraine's military operation in Kursk. Latvia's foreign minister went a step further by saying Kyiv has the right to use NATO weapons on Russian territory.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm saying all this because we very well may be looking at World War III here, especially if the elections don't go kind of in a certain direction. And then, of course, Putin described this area as a red line previously. And then the German foreign ministry said Ukraine was entitled to self-defense, which was not limited to its own territory. So currently, that's where we end with Ukrainian war.
Have you heard anything like what did the Russians say on their side as far as the attack?
And some more stuff on that. You know how it is when you Google here in the U.S., you get a lot of outside media, and of course they're not gonna. I'll keep digging and see if I can find something, but I'm gonna have to look at some of the like BBC and probably even Al Jazeera news channels.
Yeah,
but
that's interesting. You know what? One of the things that you said was I don't remember who you said it was, but they were saying that they think that using NATO forces into Russia or NATO weaponry or whatever into Russia was okay. Well, when you talk about that, now you're talking about the United States, and Russia has already said that if the United States backs them up or whatever going into Russia, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah. So let me see. I did read that in here. So we are not authorizing them to use long range rockets so far. They keep saying the main reason is because we don't have a whole surplus a large surplus of them, but we know why, because if we use them, then it could drastically change. Or not, I say we, if NATO forces use them.
Right. And that would be if we provided the weapons that they used. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Wow.
We are already providing weapons for them and munitions. So there's all kinds of stuff, but we're not allowed to obviously provide any type of ground forces or anything like that. But we are providing them with artillery rounds, munitions, small arms, all kinds of rounds for small arms. So I mean, we're giving that's what our support is. It's not just money. We're actually giving them equipment.
Yeah. The U.S. also reluctant to allow Ukraine to use long-range U.S.-provided weapons inside Kursk. Multiple officials said not because of the risk of escalation, but because the U.S. owns limited supplies of long-range missiles known as ATACMS to provide to Ukraine, and thinks they would be better used to continue targeting Russian-occupied Crimea. So,
yeah, I don't know if I buy that specific thing. Because of what Russia and Putin has specifically said about America and, their support or whatever. But that's a good cover up.
Yeah, Putin has continued to call this administration's bluff on many of things.
Right.
This administration is just clearly incompetent when it comes to this. I don't know if it's by design or just straight incompetence. Along the lines of that fiasco of downsizing and leaving Afghanistan. This, their failure to properly support our direct ally, Israel, and then this piecemeal, just give them money, just flood them with money, which they've already told us that we're paying for their government's pension plans for just totally BS reasons. We're going to give them money, should be going towards munitions to help them fight. If that's our policy, we don't even have a direct, clear, concise policy of how to deal with it. Just like the Obama administration with the red line, the enemy crosses it. They don't, I think they go even further by not having a red line, just because they know it's going to get crossed and they don't know how to deal with it.
They can't even report cases not covered to the corporal of the guard from posts more distant than their own, right? Meaning that when the CF went in for surgery, they couldn't report that up the chain of command.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, F's in surgery. He's going to be out for a few days. Who's in charge? Nobody was in charge.
Biden doesn't even know his name.
No.
He doesn't even know his name. On the interview, he called him I hired the black guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't know his own guy's name.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about
surprised that he didn't know he was in the hospital for 3-4 days.
Right.
Yeah. What's funny about that is, when you're teaching new recruits, right, as a drill instructor, you're teaching them, they have to know the chain of command all the way up to the president. It's not like, you got to know them all. And how can the president of the United States not know somebody that's 3 or 4 people away from him?
And with the chaos going on in the world, such an important individual.
Yeah. Good point.
That's because he never knew.
No, correct.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's not the one making those decisions. That's why.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's not me making the decision, so don't blame me, okay? All right, Aaron, you got anything else for us?
No, and I apologize. I kind of morphed 2 general orders together there, so I do apologize.
You can You can pay
What a
later. Don't
shitbag.
worry. Yeah.
What a shitbag.
To walk my post in the military. What? What?
I said call the corporate guard in case not covered, but or covered in the instructions, but that's two of them together. Call the corporate
Aaron.
guard.
Hey, Aaron. What is your 12th general order?
To walk my post from flank to flank and not take shit from any rank.
Okay, at least you know that one. That's good. That's good. For all those active duty Marines out there, that is not an answer you should give.
No.
There is not a 12th general order, just so you know.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good stuff.
That's a good one.
All right. It is. Yeah.
Just keep it in the housing group.
Yeah, but it's true.
Yeah. Walk
I'm
your
just
post.
gonna throw that out there.
Don't take shit from anyone.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. As it should be.
Unless
all right.
Know who he is.
Well, yeah. Well, if Sergeant Major says it, it's gospel, and we're gonna. It don't matter what he says, we're doing it because Sergeant Major says so. You know, he overrides pretty much everything. So,
a couple of commands sergeant majors in the Army got recently, so I don't know.
What are you talking about? They got relieved recently?
Yeah, that'll be a follow-up story.
Oh, well, you're gonna have to follow up because I don't know about it.
You mean, are you talking about the current Democratic nominee vice president?
Oh, no, not him. There was an airborne command sergeant major got relieved, and I think it was the first command sergeant major of the 101st got relieved as well.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear about it.
Holy crap. Yeah, look that up and let us know for sure. That's a good one. Yeah, I haven't heard about that. Well, we're going to jump as Aaron is checking that out, and we're going to go to military history with Krista.
All right. Couple little things in history. This is for the week, and which is, kind of the 11th through the 15th. And 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed.
Yeah, buddy.
In 1876, U.S. law removed Indians from the Black Hills after there was a gold find.
That's actually a big one. You're going back to when you're talking about the Indians and all the stuff that has taken place with Native Americans and stuff, and pushing them out and pushing them on a reservation or whatever the case may be. That's huge, man. Especially when they're like, "Oh, there's gold, you got to go." That's definitely one of the not so politically correct things we've done.
We've done our country. And there's some others here as well. And I'm not going to read as many as I did the other night. I'm trying to kind of, because there's one, I'm going to expand on one tonight.
Okay.
There's a couple that we, it's tough because, our country hasn't always, no country has. If you look through, when I read some of these things, all countries have them. So it's important to remember your history. That's all I can say, and you choose what kind of human being you want to be. Yeah. In 1900, 2,000 Marines land to capture Beijing, ending the Boxer Rebellion. The Chinese Empress Dowager, Cixi, and her family and court retainers flee Peking, Fujian, and while foreign troops moved through the capital in an attempt to quell the rebellion. So that was in 1900, which is where the first, I think there were 33 medals of honor given during that rebellion to U.S. Marines. Mm-hmm.
That was
no kidding.
China Marines, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. In 1912, 2,500 U.S. Marines invade Nicaragua, and they will remain there. The U.S. remain there until 1925. In 1947, Pakistan gained its independence from Britain. And I went to look up how long Britain had Pakistan as a territory. I'd like to know that. I did not look these two up. So Pakistan gained their independence from Britain in 1947, and in 1971, Bahrain proclaimed its independence from Britain after 110 years.
Wow.
So, which I've heard this line in a movie once, and it was "Make the World England." You know, a lot of countries often, you know, that was it. It was taking power, and just, you know, when British had, you know, a navy, the fleet. Popping back over to 1960.
Not to interrupt, but they used to say that the sun never set on the British Empire.
Yeah.
There you go.
They
that's
controlled
true.
somewhere all around the world.
That's what your
Very
group did.
true.
They sailed and traveled. And they taken the land. In 1961, I'll pop back over there. In 1961, the building of the Berlin Wall began.
Mm.
And here's our one non-military history for today. In 1969, Woodstock Rock Festival began in New York. Yes.
Hey-oh.
I think I would have liked to have been there.
I'm sure they're
I don't know.
there.
There might be photos of me there. No, just kidding. I was born in 64, so who knows?
They were out there smoking dope, skipping rope, talking to everybody but Jesus.
That's right. And last but not least on this one, in 1995, Shannon Faulkner became the first woman to attend the Citadel.
Oh, wow.
Does anybody know if she graduated?
Nope.
She did not graduate. She did not finish.
No kidding.
My significant other is piping in from the other room that Nancy Mace did.
Was Nancy Mace the first one to make it through? Who was the first one to make it through? You know?
I do not know. But no, I don't think Nancy Mace was the first one to graduate. So, but she did graduate. She's one of our Congress people here in South Carolina. So.
Oh, I see.
Now.
Well, it couldn't have been her then. I mean, that was a while back. So.
Yeah, it's been a while. This also week in history, and this isn't super significant, but I'll tell you a little bit about this person just so you're familiar with this.
It was Nancy, by the way.
Huh?
Sorry to interrupt. It was Nancy Mace, 1999.
Oh, she was the first one to graduate from the Citadel? Oh, it was her.
Get out of town. Wow.
Oh. Okay. All right. This week, August 11th, this woman was born, Opha May Johnson. She is your first Marine to enlist in the United States Marine Corps. She enlisted in the Marine Corps Reserves on August 13th, 1918, when she joined, or when she, okay, let me just actually read it. She was the first woman known to have enlisted in the United States Marine Corps when she joined the Marine Corps Reserves on August 13th, 1918, officially becoming that female Marine. She was born on May 4th, 1878, and she died on August 11th, 1955. Opha May Jacob was her name. She was born in Kokomo, Indiana. She graduated from Woods Commercial College in Washington, D.C. with a degree in shorthand and typewriting.
Wow.
In 1895. She was the salutatorian of her class, and she entertained her audience with a carefully prepared paper. She married Victor Hugo Johnson on December 20th, 1898, at the 6th Presbyterian Church in Washington, D.C. At the time of their marriage, Victor was the musical director of the Lafayette Square Opera House. Prior to joining the Marines, she was in the civil service working for the Interstate Commerce Commission. Now, the reason she became the first known woman to enlist in the Marine Corps on August 13th, 1918, when she joined, was because she was just the first person in line. That's all it was. There were over 300.
Oh, really?
That's it. That's all it was. She was just the first woman in line that day. That's all. That was the significance of it. There were over 300 women to enlist in the Marine Corps Reserve during World War I. Now, she was 39 years old at the time of her enlistment, and Major General George Barnett was the commandant, and he is the one who requested the women enlist. He also requested that they do a survey or a study to find out what other jobs women could take. from the men to free them to fight, of course. And World War I was almost over. In fact, they enlisted in, August 13th, and the war was over in November, mid-November. So they were only in for a few months before they would build up the service, and then they would downsize and just, dismiss everybody and send them home. That's how the battalions were always done. And they did the same thing with the Women's Reserve as well. According to a 1918 newspaper article, as well as the published history of women Marines in World War I, Johnson's first duties were as clerk at Headquarters Marine Corps, managing the records of other female reservists who joined after she did. She was promoted to sergeant in September of that year, and she was the highest ranking woman in the Marine Corps during her time in service. On July 11th, 1919, the American Legion granted a charter to the first post of Women Marines Corps, to the Women's Marine Corps Reservists, known as Bella Wood, post number 1. Its membership consisted of 90 women who had worked at Headquarters Marine Corps, and Johnson was a charter member of this post. At the end of World War I, the Marine Corps, like all services, began a steady disenrollment of women, including Johnson, from active service. After her brief military career, she became a clerk in the War Department and worked for the Marine Corps as a civil servant until retiring in 1943.
Wow.
Couple little side notes here. There's always been some issues about the spelling of her middle name. She spelled it M-A-Y, not M-A-E, on her enlistment form.
What? Yep. I don't believe it. There's no way the Marine Corps got that wrong.
No. They got it right. She spelled it M-A-Y, but a lot of people throughout history have spelled it M-A-E, but it's M-A-Y. And a lot of people have reported her birth as being in the year 1900, which placed her in her late teens at her time of enlistment, but it wasn't. She was 39, of course. She died on August 11th, 1955 at Mount Alto Veterans Hospital in Washington, D.C. Services were held at Walter E. Pumphrey Funeral Home on Saturday, August 13th, 1955. 37 years to the day from when she first stood in the line of women answering the call to become a U.S. Marine. She is buried near her husband and parents in Rock Creek Cemetery in D.C., and her grave was unmarked. In late 2017, the Women Marines Association began fundraising to place a marker at Johnson's burial site. On August 29th, 2018, she received a grave marker which celebrated 100 years of women in the Marines. And then on August 29th, 2018, they unveiled the grave marker. The Marine Training Center at Grissom Air Reserve Base was renamed the Sergeant Opham A. Johnson Marine Reserve Center on November 10th, 2022, which was the 247th anniversary of the founding of the Marine Corps. The next day, the monument honoring Johnson was unveiled in Kokomo, Indiana. And that's it.
Wow. That's really cool.
It's very simple, actually. There wasn't a lot of hoo-yah. She didn't do anything amazing. She just happened to be the first in line. But she did, she answered the call. She did, just like a lot of us do, just happened to be there at the right place and right time. But there's Opham A's history.
As much as we've talked that up, at least in our Marine Corps lore and all that type of stuff, you would think that there would be a much grandiose type of event that happened then, but it just so happened she was the first one in line. Like, who would have thought, right? She's just showing up because like a good Marine, you show up early, and the 15 to the 15 of the 15,
Right.
So she's the first one in line, famous.
Or 15 minutes, huh?
That's right. Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
I've been the first one in line at Disney World before.
Yay! Rope drop.
But the problem is you're not famous for it.
You're right. But I just wanted to say, Krista, I loved tonight's presentation. I appreciate what you bring to the table.
Oh, thank you. You guys gonna make me get teary-eyed. Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks. But yeah, I just and I feel bad missing the Purple Heart Day. I'm like, I should be scalded,
Or our long-standing tradition and history that Krista delivers, we wouldn't be here, right?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
they paved the way. I mean, Somebody had to give us a chance. You know what my preamble to the Constitution says, don't you? We hold these truths to be self-evident that all white male landowners are created equal. My husband gets so tired of hearing that.
That's messed up.
Like, I'm sick of that.
Hey, one thing you mentioned, she married a musician.
He was. It says he was the musical director at the Lafayette Square Opera House.
Oh, he would have been.
I didn't even
far back then, right?
I'm sorry.
Hey, I didn't know Vic was alive back then, but I mean, I knew he was old, but son of a gun.
Victor Johnson.
Good, strong name. Yes, among musicians. Good, strong name among musicians. I like it. I approve.
Yeah. And that's all
my
I have to
God.
say about that. Yeah.
All right.
But that's all of us did. We all answered the call, right?
Yeah.
Sign the blank check.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, this draws us to a conclusion now, and I just want to say I'm down here in Texas, and in case you guys are wondering, and I'm sure you're all on bated breath waiting for this, but Texas is the largest contribution of military personnel. I don't know that for a fact, but I think that there's a lot of them down here. Only because Texas is so freaking big, and it's going to take me 8 days to get out of Texas. So just throwing that out there. Yeah, but hey, in all honesty, San Antonio, if you guys make it down this way, you need to go to Post 76, the VFW Post 76. It's the oldest post, VFW post in Texas. The house that the post is in is absolutely incredible. It was built in like 1880s. I can't remember the exact date, 1880 something. But incredible. And it is a pretty cool post. And it's right on the Riverwalk. Like literally their cigar smoking area is on the Riverwalk. It's pretty cool. I know Vic would love that. But anyways, it's a pretty cool place to be. So if you get to come down here, also it is literally a block up and a block over from Grunt Style Apparel. So if you guys are familiar with them, they're right around the corner. I got to go in and visit in that shop today. It was pretty cool. It's their headquarters. And I might be able to get some of those guys on the podcast to tell their story at some point in time. But yeah, so I've had a good time down here in Texas. They treated me well. They've given me tons of veterans to tell their stories, which is fantastic, being able to get everyone's stories out. Of course, Texas is going to come through when it comes to veterans, so it's all good. Yeah. All right. We want to finish this one out, or do you guys got anything else to discuss?
Hey, just the command sergeants major for the Army. They fired 3 in the last month, starting 16th with Command Sergeant Major Matthew Carlson was fired, alcohol-related incident. My apologies, I closed it. And then they fired a Command Sergeant Major Knapp. She was actually the Command Sergeant Major of Joint Task Force there in D.C. So basically, military. Other one was, I think the Army. I accidentally closed it out, but the Army Cyber Command just within the last couple of days was fired, or whatever the is there at Fort Belvoir.
Did it say what the other 2 were fired for? It was loss of confidence or something?
Confidence. The only one alluded to anything else was the alcohol-related incident. The other one, here it is. Command Sergeant Majors leave brigade level unit Tuesday. It was Fort Belvoir Cyber Unit. And loss of trust and confidence. That's all his said. Hers, the female Command Sergeant Major, was same thing, loss of trust and confidence. I've seen random things going around about it, but as you can imagine, what they probably are. Yeah, loss of trust and confidence.
And Mark, you can kind of speak to a little bit of that. The loss of trust and confidence encompasses a lot of different things.
It could have been one of those command one of those
command climate surveys.
Command climate surveys. It could be anything like that, but or it could be some type of personal thing, like it might have been a alcohol related incident that they don't want to say it. They can do about anything and say lack of trust and confidence.
They were all from investigations. I'll leave it at that. So they had to do investigations.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard thing. I would imagine, though, there's going to have to be an investigation to relieve somebody.
Usually,
always.
Yeah.
Unless it's something flagrant, where it's just automatic. They don't need to investigate it. It happened. Like say that that DUI incident.
Right.
They know. So.
Right. That's very interesting. You never want to hear things like that. That's for sure. And that's a tough pill to swallow for anybody. And it can happen to anybody at any point in time. So for those active duty folks, mind your P's and Q's. Make sure you're staying on the up and up.
That's why, if you notice, Andrew knows, I never had too many personal items hanging up on the wall in my office.
Yeah.
If I got fired, I just grabbed a couple things, put it in my war bag, and walked out.
Again.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I won't get into it here, but I was close. I got that nip lock, before I retired.
You've been called Andrew to come pack your office up.
Yeah, I needed help with all the shit I had in there. And guess where all that stuff is now? It's in storage. Yeah. I'm living out of the motorhome, so my wife said, "No, you ain't putting that stuff up in here." It'd all fall off the wall anyway. The second I started driving,
just like
just what? Just like what?
Just like the awning.
You know what?
I knew someone had to sneak it in there.
Back to our day, you threw that softball up there and I hit it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, for all the listeners out there, next week I'm going to have a completely new crew. Someone that's going to treat me better. Wow. So, I almost hate to ask, but do we have words of wisdom this week?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Of course we do. And if they're all about awnings, you're fired. I don't pay you, but you're still fired. I'm just kidding. All right, Aaron, hit me. Words of wisdom.
Let's just start with an oldie. When I say oldie, I mean really old, by Confucius. Life is really, but we insist on making it complicated.
Yeah, that's true. Very true statement. Yeah. All right, Krista, what do you got?
The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty.
Dang, that is good. Dang. All right. Yeah, look at Mark and that cheesy ass smile he's got going on right now. He's got some wise ass comment at the end of this. All right, Vic, what do you got?
Well, a couple things. First of all, I got a little story about Fort Belvoir. My daughter was born at Fort Belvoir, right? And like when you take your kid back after they're like 4 days old for their hearing test, right? She was completely asleep the entire trip from Quantico to Fort Belvoir. And just as we're pulling up to the gate, she wakes up and starts crying. As I'm handing my ID to the gate guard at Fort Belvoir, my wife looks back at my daughter and says, "I know it's an Army base, but it's not going to hurt you." I was like, that's a Marine wife. I love it. So I will say the cigar was very pleasant, very well constructed. I didn't have any runners. I like the earthy, almost mossy taste. I didn't really taste the spice that talked about, but there was a hint of sweetness. So the description was accurate. I really like it. It's a good cigar. And I will say, my quote is: "Do your own things independently. Be the chess player, not the chess piece."
Oh, okay. I like that. That's pretty good. You threw out a lot of stuff there all at once, smack the army. That was pretty good, then you move on to your not so mossy mossy but not so spicy cigar, right? That was nice. That was nice. Yeah. And then you smacked us in the face with some chess pieces. That was good. Yeah. You're stepping up your game. I'm proud of you.
It's because of all of you. I feel I need to be smarter when I'm around you guys.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah. Nice. All right, Mark.
I'm gonna echo the 12th general order that Aaron brought up, and I'm gonna say, when you give an order, you make sure that either the order you gave or the one you gave it to is carried out.
Ooh, yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's a good point. Good point. I wish Aaron would have listened to that more.
Yeah. and I took a note. Don't keep personal stuff on your walls in case you're fired.
Again.
Oh man. Well, hey guys, thanks again. You guys make my days better when I get to come on here and shoot the shit with you guys. I appreciate you. I don't care what anybody says about you, especially all those army dogs out there running around saying crap about you. But I appreciate you. I don't care what they say. So you're good. You're good in my book. But yeah, thanks for coming on again. Thanks for sharing your words of wisdom and all your news. Much appreciated. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, the VA does have some great resources. Go ahead and dial 988, press option 1. You can also text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net, click on that chat icon. Any of those options are going to be able to put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. Remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. The crew cares about you. The entire veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're one of those guys out there and you're not struggling, you're having a good time, reach out to your buddies that you served with. Ask them how they're doing. See if they're struggling. And if they are, give them a helping hand and help them out in whatever time of need that they have. All right. With that, again, the crew, you guys rock. And to everybody out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.